Inigo mentioned the evolution in the European Union over the last 2 years, and how rapidly we have moved towards economic integration, and particularly the idea of greater budgetary oversight and scrutiny of each other's budgets. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about member states knowing a lot more about what's happening in each other's economic affairs. And I think it's something that sometimes frightens people and intimidates them. And I think it would be interesting for our audience maybe to hear from you, I suppose that the reasoning for it or the logic for it, and maybe to reassure people a little bit, because I think sometimes there's a fear of the unknown, and of course there's the question of economic sovereignty and losing sovereignty. So perhaps, Enda, you might address that topic.
Prior to the election last year, the government in this country was propped up by a number of independent members who were able to hold the government to ransom for deals that were secret, that were never explained to the Parliament what they were or what they cost or what they meant, with the result that the government itself was in a straitjacket, if you like, in that if they didn't comply with these requests and issues from these independent members, government could have fallen. Now, I see the same thing around the Council of Europe, where issues that come forward for discussion, Prime Minister X will say, I can't do that because I'm in a minority situation here, and they won't wear it. And this changes all the time. One of the things that strikes me is that when rating agencies look at countries, and we're in a programme, two things that they certainly look at are political stability and the engines to drive your economy. Now, as it happens in this country, in 2012, the government, which I have the honour to lead, of the two parties in government, has the biggest majority since the foundation of the state. So, despite fluctuations in opinion polls, there's a great working relationship here in terms of its stability. We've also got the engines to drive our economy. 8 out of the top 10 software companies in the world are here, IT companies, pharmaceutical companies. They're all here because they believe in the environment for investment and as I said, the tax and technology and track record. To answer your question directly, Lucinda, see, we have lost our economic sovereignty here in the sense that we can't, as a government, when we meet next Tuesday, make decisions for our own people, because we've now had our 6th analysis by the Troika. These are intensive. They are very analytical. And I suppose the fact that you're in a programme, when you look at what's happened and the decisions that have had to be made, the previous government would never be in a position to do that because the government would have collapsed. So what's involved in the treaty here, in many ways, is a protective and a reactive arm, in the sense that any government is entitled to put forward its own budget, and so long as it stays within the conditions that are set down here, the trigger of a requirement to adjust doesn't take effect. But I think this is driven by a frustration at a European level as well, that when you become a member of a group or an organisation or a club or whatever, that you are expected to adhere to the conditions. And I think we should be open about these things, that there have been all the discussions about Northern European countries, Southern European countries, Northern European mentalities, Southern European mentalities. I think there was a recognition, certainly my understanding of the decisions that were being made at the European Council were being made in the knowledge that they were not going to be carried through. Because before the decisions were actually finalised, the markets were giving their view of them. So now we're in a position where things are different and the attitude has changed here. So for us as a country in a programme which we want to get out of as quickly as we can, we're going to have a leaner, more efficient governance engine. We hope to have eliminated where waste has been applicable, and where we've got a growth agenda and an environment for jobs and opportunity and all of that. But it means then that we can continue to draft our own national budgets, that we continue to be prudent in the interests of our people. Long before our Attorney General gave formal legal advice that in the context of our Constitution that a referendum was necessary in this case, a referendum of the people. My government had agreed and decided that we would legislate in any event for a fiscal responsibility bill, because we want to see a situation where no future government of any party will ever be allowed again to run riot with the people's fortunes and the people's money. So this is about good housekeeping. It's about good budgetary discipline. And when that's under control, that you get on with your agenda for growth and all the rest of it. So for a country that would be enormously fearful about any interference in our affairs, we cannot write a cheque, because all our public services are paid for now by the European Central Bank. And the Troika is in the corner, and they will say, sorry, that's the memorandum of understanding, you haven't measured up, so you've got to shape up again next month. This is very difficult and very challenging for real people, for people everyday lives with the difficulties that they have. So I think we're going to learn a big lesson out of this, Lucinda. I think our sense of values, I think our appreciation of ourselves as a people, I think the slogan that we used to have years ago of that every person counts is certainly very valid. I think there's a new appreciation of what it is that we have to do as a people, rectify our own problems and then play our part. I actually want to see people being happy that they go to work every day, that they make a contribution to their local economy, to their families, their social circle, and to their country. These things are all possible, provided we can have political agreement on the way forward, and that we have a set of conditions from an economic and financial point of view that countries adhere to, and that the attraction for politicians of short-term gain by making decisions that are irrational financially and economically will be eliminated by this treaty, and that we adhere to cutting our cloth according to our measure. I think it was Thomas Jefferson who used to say, for popularity, swim with the current, for principle, stand like a rock. Our people here over the centuries and since the foundation of the state have come through adverse conditions on many occasions. And in fact, if I may say so, our own party, with the Labour Party, the makeup of the current government, has had to clean up an economic mess on 3 or 4 occasions in the last 50 years. No government has faced the scale of the economic challenge that we face now, or indeed yours. And this is going to require courage and fortitude and working with people to do it. When I listen to the economic commentators, Lucinda, talking about the next 20 years, they speak of China, of India, of Russia, South Africa, of Brazil, and the United States. Where is the European Union? The European Union is behind the curve here, and the European Union has got to measure up. This is part of doing that.